never increased my lifestyle expense because I always knew I would probably need to go backwards in my monthly income if I started a business, because businesses don't start off profiting 5, 10, 15 grand a month even if you're starting it from scratch. So, life of a small business owner, specifically property management. Alright, we're gonna go drop off some 14-day notices. People aren't paying rent. I'm gonna do some introductions to new tenants we're onboarding for some new clients that have us starting to manage their property in February. So we're getting ahead of the curve and getting tenants logged into their portals and having them be introduced to our staff so they're feeling comfortable. And then we have a showing. If you haven't noticed, we're trying to change up a little bit of our channel and how we do things. But first, I gotta get Starbucks because I'm weak-minded and need my caffeine. Oh yeah, Copper, he's with us. I'm telling you, Food City has the best Starbucks because they don't have those crappy new machines. They actually use the pot and brew it ahead of time. So you gotta sacrifice the aesthetic of a normal Starbucks and go into a Food City to get the real stuff. As a small business owner, they ask me, isn't it exciting? Like, are you having fun? Like, what's your next move? I tell them it's boring. All I do is the same thing month after month. But it's also the absolute gift because we have our service figured out for our customer. So we're not going to really change the direction of the ship by too much. There's always something you can do to improve. However, going east, turning around, going west, and then heading north, you end up going in circles, meaning if you change too much in your business too often, those things don't scale. I like change, but change holds you back from a lot of growth. Changing employees, changing systems and processes, changing your customer avatar, changing where you physically are opening shop. All of these things take a big investment, then it typically means you're going to take a longer period of time to get where you want. I want to grow as fast and responsibly as possible, meaning as fast as we can handle the demand. The first 2 years that I was in property management, I didn't even take a salary or pay myself out. If I started taking profit from day one and using it for my lifestyle, it would halt the growth. And so I put every dollar back in for 2 entire years. And now we're on year 4 and I can pay myself 6 figures and have a staff to support me. And these letters, the showings, the introduction to new tenants today, I don't even really do that normally. I'm really doing this because one of my team members has a car broken down and it would be easier for me to take on the workload than to try to put somebody else on it and maneuver around our time and resources. It's just easier if I jump on it. I never increased my lifestyle expense because I always knew I would probably need to go backwards in my monthly income if I started a business, because businesses don't start off profiting 5, 10, 15 grand a month even if you're starting it from scratch. So to all my daily operators, entrepreneurs out there, you know what I'm talking about. You know you're in a rough area when you can't even get a camera out to film yourself doing some stuff. Over on Washington Pike, we gotta work on that unit. That multifamily, it's like a 15 unit and got tenants throwing trash everywhere. Got people parking where there's not supposed to be parking based on the fire lanes. And honestly, honestly, rent's getting collected. That's the one good thing compared to where it was a year, even 2 years ago. And with C-class properties right now, with the current job market and people's just energy, we're lucky we're doing this good with rent. However, we gotta do better with just maintaining that property. That's the problem with my business, is that we're in an industry where the expectation is higher than what we can honestly deliver at the prices we charge our customers. And sometimes things get out of hand faster than what we can monitor. Anyone, any property manager. And that's that bug. Every industry has a bug. A bug is something that it's always going to be there. It's always going to be the problem you're trying to solve. And to alter the business model frequently and aggressively would be the wrong decision when trying to solve a bug. You make big decisions towards things you know you can solve. Something you can solve. And this is something that we'll always be solving. So when it comes to us at the property, in 24 hours, a tenant can ruin a property. If I have a whole day at a house, I can set it on fire, burn it down, and the next day it wouldn't even be there. So unless we're inspecting it twice a day, it's not something we're going to be able to solve. And you might be thinking, well, what about cameras? You enter into a lot of lawsuits if you put cameras on properties. Just ask anyone that does that with Airbnbs or has tried. I wouldn't want that liability on me. So if we can't physically be there every day, twice a day, I consider that a bug. And if a handyman costs $50, $75 just to go out and look at something, give you a quote if you don't want to pay him that day, you got to be paying $75 a day, if not $150 for someone to view a unit twice a day. And that only goes for the exterior. We can't walk into someone's unit twice a day. So it's just one of those bugs, and it's frustrating because you want to solve it for your customer. You want them to have properties that look amazing every day of the week, every day of the year. But the reality is there's an expectation when it comes to A, B, and C class assets, and my business is going to do the best they can to withhold or basically hold a standard hopefully higher than the industry, which is why it helps when I get out, drive around, look at these units, and ultimately put my eyes on them so I can steer my team in the right direction, do a little bit of training after I've experienced the boots on the ground experience, and guide the ship as best as possible. But once again, we're not gonna just turn this thing around. We're not turning directly left. We're not gonna turn directly right. We're going this way, and maybe my training puts us right there. Just a little bit of a pivot. Man, had a guy comes up to me at that property and is like, when are you gonna fix my floor? It's like, geez, I don't know any of the facts. I know he keeps asking our maintenance team, he said, and he's like, they keep telling me it's on its way. It's like, well, I mean, without any facts and all the emotion, I can get highly emotional, highly defensive, and I could basically start talking to him like, well, you don't know this and you don't know that. But I don't know half the story either. I mean, Home Depot could be holding up our supplies, materials. We don't know. If I call my team in that moment and I disrupt their day with an emergency phone call into maintenance around something that we both know is not an emergency, like getting a floorboard replaced, all I'm doing is actually probably screwing over the next tenant that my team member is currently trying to service and just helping the one that's in front of him. And that isn't any more ethical than what I did, which was, well, I don't work in that department. I will get in contact with them today and I will try to push this as fast as possible. Bottom line, I just try to dissolve the emotion, try to keep calm, don't get aggressive, don't get snooty. Just explain, hey, I respect your emotions, I respect your anger, I bet you're right. You know, give them the benefit of the doubt.
Crazy story. So I had a showing out here in Lower City, and I got out here at 3:30. I showed the unit. Lady loved it. She does have some others she's going to view, so it just shows how strong the market is when it comes to, well, it shows how much supply there is, so options for our customer to choose from. However, the one thing that stood out in that conversation was she was very happy with our customer service. We got back to her within a couple minutes of her inquiry on Zillow, and she said we were the only company that reached out same day to get something scheduled, and our system and processes obviously allow us to be successful with that. And she said she was a small business owner. She's a bookkeeper / accountant, so she just wanted me to know that, and she wanted me to tell the owner, and I'm the owner, so that was cool. All right, guys, we're gonna end it here. Long day. Got the letters dropped off to all the tenants that are late on rent. Got the letters dropped off to the tenants that were introducing ourselves for February, and we did our showing. So, life of a small business owner, specifically property management, rent's due.